Go for it. There's another way this could happen. If House Speaker Boehner puts this on the floor in the House and it passes overwhelmingly with Democratic votes, and then a few Republicans, but overwhelmingly with Democratic votes, will he be removed?
I mean, I don't think the speakers, look, over the last several weeks, you've seen our caucus very united, 230-some votes for all these bills I've talked about. I don't think you're going to see I don't think you'll see that happen.
If he did it, what would happen to Boehner?
Well, I mean, who knows? I don't think that's not even being talked about. We're focused on the principles I've described. We're focused on addressing the underlying debt problem, and we're also focused, and I watched the previous segment, we're also focused on Obamacare. It is unfair the way this is being implemented.
All right, let me ask you about that. There's a widespread feeling in Washington, maybe right, maybe wrong, but the feeling in Washington is you're going to have to accept in the House something that you hate because, quite frankly, the perception is that you misplayed your hands on Obamacare. I want to put up a couple of polls. According to a Wall Street Journal poll this week, 53% now have a negative view of the GOP. That's the worst rating since the Wall Street Journal started polling in 1989. And support for Obamacare has actually gone up in the last month from 31% to 38%, despite all the massive problems with the rollout. And the feeling is it's because of the disgust with the shutdown. Congressman Jordan, rightly or wrongly, forget Obamacare, politically, has your strategy of linking Obamacare to all of these things, has it backfired big time?
Well, look, we need to delay this law, plain and simple. You can look at the polls and whatever, but we were elected to stand for certain principles. The vast majority of the American people still know this law doesn't work. The president knows this law doesn't work. We've had 13 days where this thing has been rolled out and it's been a disaster. And I always point to this. Why is it okay, Chris, for big corporations not to be subject to the plain letter of the law? Why is it okay for members of Congress to get a special break under the law? But for that single mom working at a small business, now she has to be subjected to trying to deal with Obama. Maybe she's now going down to 29 hours a week because of Obama. Why is that fair? This is a fundamental, this is a hallmark principle about this country. Equal treatment under the law.
I understand your argument, but the fact is when Paul Ryan had his op-ed piece in the Wall Street Journal, his way out, it never mentioned Obamacare. When John Boehner offered the House Republican plan, which would have extended the debt ceiling and have these budget talks, he never mentioned Obamacare. It feels like that has left the station.
There's still a lot of members of the House of Representatives who understand that Obamacare is unfair the way it's been treated. And all we've had, look, I want to repeal it. We know that's not going to happen with this president. All we've asked for is delay it. Delay it for individual Americans, just like you did for members of Congress.
But you're never going to get that through. It's just, I mean, I'm not saying you're right or wrong.
That is such a simple, fair, basic argument, consistent with what makes our country such a special country: equal treatment under the law.
But doesn't it feel to you like the House Republican leadership has
and that's an indictment on us making a better. We need to make a better argument. We need to make a stronger argument with the American people. But I think that resonates with the American people if we continue to make that.
So I guess I'm a little bit confused, because what you're basically saying, I mean, here we just talked to two senators who say, you know, we're going to have to move even more in the direction. They agree with you. We're not going to relax the spending cuts. That's a non-starter. But they, you know, Obamacare never came up in that discussion either. And you know, the president is pushing them for fewer and fewer concessions, and you're demanding something that it sounds like your House Republican.
Joe Manchin said last week that he thinks the individual mandate should be, he thinks it should be relaxed for individuals. They should be given equal treatment. So here's a Democrat senator from the state of West Virginia who agrees that this is being enforced in an unfair fashion.
So how, well, last question. How do you think that the House Republicans or congressional Republicans are taking the hit that everybody else seems to think they've taken when you see this record level of disapproval?
No one likes a shutdown. We understand that. But I keep coming back to this idea that somehow we're the bad guys because we're standing up for the simple concept of fairness. This is why people elected us, to stand up and say, you know what? We should be treated fairly under the law. This law doesn't work. We all know we've had 13 days of it's been rolled out. It hasn't worked. And the other thing that I'm always amazed at, this president can waive the law for big business and for members of Congress, but he can't waive the law during this shutdown for families whose sons gave their lives serving our country and want their death benefit for that. I mean, to me, that's unbelievable. So this is a simple argument about fairness, and we're going to keep making it.
Congressman Jordan, thank you.